The starship Artemis cut through the darkness of space like a blade of obsidian, its stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible against the backdrop of stars. Commander Raven Blackwood stood at the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the sensor readings that shouldn't exist. The mining outpost on Kepler 186f had gone dark 3 days ago, but the energy signatures pulsing from its surface told a different story. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the unease crawling up her spine. Lieutenant Davies looked up from his console, his face illuminated by the blue glow of holographic displays. "No response to hails, Commander. But these readings, they're not consistent with any known mining operation." Raven nodded, her jaw tightening. After 15 years in Earth Fleet, she'd learned to trust her instincts. Something was very wrong here. "Prepare a landing team. Full tactical gear. Whatever's down there, I want us ready for it." The descent through Kepler's atmosphere was rough, the planet's weird magnetic fields playing havoc with their instruments. Their shuttle touched down half a kilometer from the main facility, kicking up red dust that swirled like blood in the alien air. "Radiation levels normal," Security Chief Rodriguez reported as they stepped onto the planet's surface. "Atmosphere within acceptable parameters, but keep your filters engaged." The facility loomed before them, a sprawling complex of interconnected domes and buildings. No lights, no movement, no signs of the 200 colonists who should be here. But those energy readings continued to pulse, like a heartbeat in the darkness. They found the first body in the administration building. A male colonist, no visible wounds, but his face was frozen in an expression of absolute terror. The second and third bodies were similar. By the fifth, Raven had seen enough. "This wasn't an accident," she said, studying the security logs that were still partially intact. "These people were." A scream cut through their comm systems, high-pitched and filled with such agony that several team members dropped to their knees. Raven staggered, her head feeling like it might split open, but she forced herself to move toward the sound. The lower levels of the facility had been converted into something that made her blood run cold. Laboratory equipment lined the walls. Containment cells, their force fields still humming with power, filled the massive chamber. And in the center, strapped to an examination table, was a being unlike any Raven had ever seen. Her skin was the color of twilight, shifting between deep purple and midnight blue. Delicate patterns of bioluminescence pulsed beneath her skin in rhythm with her labored breathing. She was humanoid, but clearly not human, her features too perfect, too symmetrical to have evolved on Earth. "By all the stars," Rodriguez whispered. "Is that a luminary?" Raven had heard the stories. The luminaries were a legendary telepathic species that had vanished from known space centuries ago. Some said they had transcended physical form. Others believed they had been hunted to extinction by those who feared their abilities. The aliens' eyes snapped open, revealing irises that shimmered like pools of liquid silver. Another psychic scream tore through their minds, but this time Raven was ready for it. She pushed through the pain and reached the table. "We're not here to hurt you," she said, working to deactivate the restraints. "I'm Commander Raven Blackwood of Earth Fleet. We're here to help." The psychic assault stopped abruptly. The alien studied her with those impossible eyes, and Raven felt a gentle touch against her consciousness, like cool fingers brushing against her thoughts. "They took us," a voice whispered in her mind. "Hunted us. Studied us. Tried to weaponize what we are." "Who?" Raven demanded, helping the alien sit up. "Who did this?" "Your own people. Working with others. The ones who fear what they cannot control. They believe our abilities could turn the tide in the coming war." "What war?" "There is no war." The alien's laugh was like crystal breaking in her mind. "Not yet. But they are preparing for one. Using us. Using others. Building weapons that should never exist. Raven heard boots on metal behind her. Rodriguez's voice was tight with tension. "Commander, we're picking up ships entering the system. Not Earth fleet signatures." The alien gripped Raven's arm with surprising strength. "They're coming to collect their test subjects. To move us before we can be discovered. If they find us here." Raven made her decision. "Rodriguez, set charges throughout the facility. Download everything you can from their systems first. Davies, get the shuttle ready." She turned back to the alien. "Can you walk?" "I am Naira," the alien said, sliding off the table with fluid grace despite her obvious weakness. "And yes, I can walk. But you cannot help me, Commander. The price will be too high." "I'll be the judge of that," Raven said, supporting Naira as they moved toward the exit. "Right now, we need to move." They barely made it back to the Artemis before the other ships arrived. As they jumped to hyperspace, Raven watched the facility explode on their rear sensors, taking its dark secrets with it. But she knew this was just the beginning. Naira stood beside her on the bridge, her bioluminescence now glowing with a steadier rhythm. "You have no idea what you've started, Commander." "Maybe not," Raven agreed, watching the stars streak past. "But I know what I saw down there was wrong. And I know I couldn't walk away." "No," Naira's mental voice held something like wonder. "You couldn't. Perhaps that's why they were right to fear humans. Not for your weapons or your technology. But for your capacity to care about those different from you. For your willingness to stand against your own kind to protect others." The Artemis carried them deeper into space, while behind them, ripples of their actions began to spread across the galaxy. Raven Blackwood had just changed everything, and there would be no going back. The Artemis drifted in the shadow of a gas giant's largest moon, its systems running silent. In her quarters, Raven stared at the damning evidence scrolling across her secure terminal. The files they'd retrieved from the Kepler facility painted a picture darker than she'd imagined. "Project Starburst," she murmured, feeling Naira's presence behind her. The luminary moved silently, her bioluminescent patterns casting subtle shadows on the walls. "They've been doing this for years." "Decades," Naira corrected, her mental voice tinged with sorrow. "Not just to my people. There are others. Species with unique abilities, telepathic potential. They take us, study us, try to replicate our gifts through artificial means." "But why?" Raven turned to face her unusual passenger. In the 2 weeks since their escape from Kepler, Naira had grown stronger, her natural radiance returning. Sometimes Raven caught herself staring, mesmerized by the way light seemed to dance beneath her skin. "Because war is coming," Naira moved to the viewport, her reflection overlaying the stars. "Not the kind your military prepares for. Something worse. There are things stirring in the dark spaces between galaxies, Commander. Ancient things. Those behind Project Starburst believe they need weapons to fight them. And they think experimenting on sentient beings is the answer?" Raven's disgust was evident. "Who's behind this?" The ship's comm system crackled. "Commander," Lieutenant Davies' voice was tight with urgency. 3 Earth fleet cruisers just dropped out of hyperspace. They're hailing us." Raven exchanged glances with Naira. "Patch them through to my quarters." Admiral Thaddeus Morton's hologram materialized, his weathered face stern. "Commander Blackwood. You've led us on quite a chase." "Sir, I can explain what happened at Kepler." "You'll have that opportunity at your court-martial," Morton cut her off. "Your orders are to surrender your ship and hand over the alien specimen you illegally removed from a classified research facility." Naira's mental voice whispered in Raven's mind. "He knows. He's one of them." "Specimen?" Raven kept her voice steady despite her rising anger. "She's a sentient being who was being tortured. What you're doing violates every law." What we're doing, Morton's voice turned cold, is ensuring humanity's survival. Stand down, Commander. That's an order. Raven's hand moved to the emergency protocols she'd prepared for this moment. With respect, sir, I cannot obey an illegal order. Then you leave me no choice. Morton's hologram vanished. Battle stations. Raven's voice rang through the ship's comm, emergency jump coordinates Alpha 7. The Artemis shuddered as the first shots from the cruisers streaked past. Rodriguez's voice came from tactical, shields at maximum. But Commander, we can't outrun 3 cruisers. We don't have to. Naira's mental voice was stronger now, determined. I can help, but you must trust me completely. Raven met those silver eyes and made her decision. Do it. Naira's bioluminescence flared brilliantly. Through their growing mental connection, Raven felt the luminary reaching out, touching the minds of the cruiser's crews. Not to harm, but to confuse, to create moments of doubt and hesitation. Their targeting systems are off. Rodriguez reported with amazement. It's like they can't focus on us. Jump drive ready, Davies called out. Wait, Raven ordered, her mind filling with images Naira was sharing. There are others like her on those ships. Being transported. Experimented on. We cannot leave them. Naira's mental voice was strained with effort. I can hold the crews confused, but not for long. Raven's tactical training kicked in. Rodriguez, targeted EMP bursts on their containment levels. Davies, prepare for multiple emergency teleports. We're about to have company. The next few minutes were chaos. As Naira maintained her psychic screen, the Artemis's systems worked at maximum capacity, beaming aboard dozens of prisoners from the cruiser's secret holding cells. Beings of various species, all showing signs of experimentation and torture. Jump drive ready. Davies shouted as the cruisers began to break through Naira's influence. Get us out of here. The Artemis vanished into hyperspace just as the cruisers opened fire. In the aftermath, Raven stood in their hastily converted cargo bay, now serving as a makeshift medical facility for their rescued prisoners. You understand now, Naira stood beside her, swaying slightly from exhaustion. Why this is bigger than just me. Bigger than any one species. I understand that we're now officially traitors to Earth Fleet. Raven watched her crew tend to the wounded with pride. Not one had hesitated to follow her orders. And that we've just made some very powerful enemies. You could have left us. No, Raven shook her head. I really couldn't. A young crew member approached, looking nervous. Commander? We've been going through the encrypted files from Kepler. There's something you need to see. The files revealed a network of secret facilities across multiple systems. Lists of captured specimens from dozens of species. And something else, evidence of a shadowy organization operating within Earth Fleet itself, pulling strings, directing research, preparing for a war most people didn't even know was coming. They'll hunt us, Raven said quietly, studying the star charts where known facilities were marked. Naira's hand touched her shoulder, sending a gentle wave of warmth through their mental connection. They will try. But they did not expect humans capable of choosing justice over orders. Of seeing us as people rather than specimens. That is why we will win. Win what? The real war, Commander. Not the one they fear is coming, but the one that's already here. The war for the soul of this galaxy. As the Artemis carried them deeper into uncharted space, Raven looked at their unlikely crew, humans and aliens united by a common cause, and realized that sometimes the greatest revolutions start not with armies, but with simple acts of defiance. With choosing to do what's right, no matter the cost. The hunt was on. But they weren't just running anymore. They were building something new. Something that might just change everything. The abandoned mining station on Vega 9's smallest moon wasn't much, but it was home now. Raven watched from the command center as another ship docked, adding to their growing fleet of refugees and rebels. 3 months since their escape from Earth fleet, and their movement was growing faster than she'd dared hope. Another defector from the Science Division, Lieutenant Davies reported, reviewing the new arrival's credentials. Dr. Valerie Stone. She says she has information about a major Project Starburst facility in the Orion sector. Raven felt Naira's presence before she saw her. The luminary's mental touch had become familiar, comforting even. She speaks truth, but she's afraid. They did something to her sister in those labs. The station's corridors had come alive with activity. Former Earth fleet personnel worked alongside rescued telepaths and other species, all united in their mission to expose and stop Project Starburst. But unity came with its own challenges. In the medical bay, tensions were running high. Dr. Stone's arrival had triggered memories for many of the rescued specimens. A Cerebian empath was projecting his distress strongly enough to affect others nearby. Raven found him huddled in a corner, his crystalline skin fracturing with anxiety. "Easy," she said softly, approaching with her hands visible. "You're safe here." "Let me," Naira moved past her, kneeling before the Cerebian. Their minds touched, and the wave of distress gradually subsided. Raven watched in amazement as Naira's bioluminescent patterns synchronized with the Cerebian's crystalline fragments, creating a peaceful light show. "Commander," Rodriguez's voice came through her comm, "we've decoded more of the Kepler files. You need to see this." In the tactical room, Rodriguez had mapped out a network of connections that made Raven's blood run cold. Project Starburst wasn't just a military research program, it reached into the highest levels of Earth's government, multiple corporations, and even other species hierarchies. "They're calling it the Concordat," Rodriguez explained, highlighting key nodes in the holographic display. "A secret alliance dedicated to developing weapons against some threat they call the Echo." The Echo, Naira's mental voice carried a tremor of recognition. "My people encountered them once, long ago. They are, not from this universe. Extradimensional beings?" Raven studied the classified reports. "Is that why the luminaries vanished? Because of these things?" "We didn't vanish," Naira's patterns flickered with emotion. "We hid. Scattered ourselves across the galaxy. But the Echo found other ways in. Through dreams. Through the spaces between thoughts. The Concordat believes they can fight them by creating weapons from beings like me. They don't understand they're only making it easier for the Echo to enter our reality." A proximity alarm blared. Unidentified ships dropping out of hyperspace. Davies called over the comm, "Earth fleet signatures, but something's wrong with them." Raven rushed to the command center, Naira close behind. The ships on their screens were Earth fleet cruisers, but their hulls were covered in strange, shifting patterns that hurt the eyes to look at. "They're infected," Naira's mental voice was thick with horror. "The Echo, they're using the Concordat's experiments as a bridge." "All ships, battle stations," Raven ordered. "But do not engage unless." The infected cruisers opened fire, their weapons leaving tears in reality itself. Through these rifts, Raven caught glimpses of something vast and impossible, waiting in the spaces between spaces. "Shields failing," Rodriguez reported. "Those weapons, they're not just destroying matter, they're unmaking it. We cannot fight them conventionally." Naira's patterns were pulsing rapidly. "But together." "Raven, do you trust me?" "Always." Naira's consciousness merged with hers more deeply than ever before. Through their connection, Raven felt the other telepaths on the station joining them, creating a network of minds. The Cerebian's crystalline resonance, the empath's emotional strength, all flowing together. "The Echo feeds on division," Naira's voice echoed through their shared consciousness. "On the spaces between thoughts, between people, between realities. But we can show them something they've never encountered. Unity. Connection. The very thing the Concordat had feared and tried to weaponize was their salvation. Through their merged consciousness, Raven felt the echo recoil from the bright tapestry of their combined minds. The tears in reality began to heal. The infected ships stopped firing, their crews awakening from the echo's influence. As the mental link faded, Raven caught one last glimpse through Naira's perception, the echo retreating, but not defeated. Never defeated. Commander, Davies broke the silence. The infected ships, their crews are requesting asylum. They remember everything the echo made them do. Everything the Concordat made them do. Raven felt Naira's hand slip into hers, warm and real. This is only the beginning, the luminary warned. The echo will try again. And the Concordat will not stop their experiments. Then we'll be ready. Raven squeezed her hand. Not with weapons or torture chambers, but with something stronger. They wanted to use your abilities as weapons, but they never understood. The real power isn't in what makes us different. It's in what brings us together. Looking around the command center at her diverse crew, humans, telepaths, empaths, all working as one, Raven understood that they were building more than just a resistance. They were creating a new way forward, proving that the very connections the Concordat feared were their greatest strength against the darkness between worlds. The station hummed with renewed purpose as they began integrating the new refugees. In her quarters later, Raven found herself studying Naira's bioluminescent patterns, mesmerized by their gentle rhythm. "What are you thinking?" she asked aloud, though she could have used their mental link. That sometimes the greatest mysteries aren't in the spaces between universes. Naira's physical voice was rarely used, musical and soft. But in how easily a single act of compassion can change everything. The warmth in Raven's chest had nothing to do with their psychic connection. Sometimes, in the midst of an impossible war, you found something worth fighting for that you never expected. Something that made all the sacrifice and danger worthwhile. Their fight was far from over, but they weren't just surviving anymore. They were building something new. Something beautiful. Something that might just save them all. The holographic map of Project Starburst facilities floated in the war room, casting eerie shadows across faces both human and alien. Raven studied the patterns they discovered, each point representing countless lives destroyed by the Concordat's experiments. But it was the facility blinking in red that held everyone's attention. Nova Station, Dr. Stone's voice trembled slightly as she pointed to the massive research complex. It's their primary facility. Everything we've seen so far. It's nothing compared to what they're doing there. Raven felt Naira's mental touch, a mix of concern and determination flowing through their connection. Over the past months, their bond had grown stronger, deeper, until sometimes it was hard to tell where one consciousness ended and the other began. "They're trying to create a doorway," Naira shared privately. "Using the combined abilities of all their captive telepaths. They think they can control the echo, use it as a weapon. They'll doom us all," Raven muttered. The room's other occupants, her trusted inner circle, watched the exchange with understanding. They'd grown used to these silent conversations between their commander and the luminary. Lieutenant Davies cleared his throat. "Our network within Earth Fleet confirms increased activity around Nova Station. Whatever they're planning, it's happening soon." "Then we move now," Rodriguez said firmly. "We have the location, we have forces. We also have a traitor," Dr. Stone cut in, her eyes hard. "That's how they knew to send those infected ships after us. Someone here is feeding information to the Concordat." The room erupted in arguments. Accusations flew. Old prejudices surfaced, humans questioning the loyalty of telepaths, telepaths defensive about their treatment. Everything they'd built threatening to fracture. "Enough." Raven's voice cut through the chaos. "This is exactly what they want. What the echo feeds on. Division. Mistrust. We're better than this." "She's right," Naira's mental voice reached everyone, soothing yet firm. But the traitor is here. I can feel their deception, though they're shielded somehow from direct detection. Raven met each person's eyes in turn. We don't have time for witch hunts. Nova Station is our priority. Dr. Stone, continue your briefing. As the doctor detailed Nova Station's defenses, Raven felt Naira's growing unease. Something was wrong, but neither of them could pin it down. The feeling only grew stronger as they finalized their assault plans. Later, in Raven's quarters, Naira's bioluminescence flickered with agitation. Your thoughts are troubled, Raven said aloud, having grown to love the rare moments when Naira spoke physically. The traitor, Naira's voice was like wind through crystal. They're not just feeding information. They're planning something. Something that could destroy everything we've built. Raven moved closer, drawn to the way Naira's patterns shifted in the dim light. We'll find them. We may not have time. Naira's hand rose to Raven's cheek, her touch sending sparks of connection between them. The echo is getting stronger. Every failed experiment, every tear in reality they create at Nova Station, it's like beacon calling them. Their faces were inches apart now. Months of growing closer, of shared minds and shared battles, had led to this moment. Raven could feel Naira's emotions flowing into her, fear, hope and something deeper, something neither of them had dared name. The kiss was like touching starlight. Naira's bioluminescence flared brilliantly, their mental connection exploding into new depths of understanding and emotion. For one perfect moment, they were truly one, human and luminary, warrior and telepath, two souls finding each other across the vast distances of space. The moment shattered as emergency alarms blared through the station. Multiple hyperspace signatures. Davy's voice crackled over the calm Earth fleet vessels, and something else. Something massive. They rushed to the command center. The main viewport showed a tear in space itself, a wound in reality that stretched for kilometers. Through it came ships, Earth fleet vessels, yes, but also something that defied description. A mass of shifting geometries and impossible angles that hurt the mind to look at. The echo, Naira breathed. They've done it. They've opened a full portal. How? Raven demanded. We're nowhere near Nova Station. Because Nova Station was never their real facility. Dr. Stone stepped from the shadows, holding a device Raven had never seen before. This was. Understanding hit like a physical blow. Raven reached for her weapon, but Stone was faster. The device activated, sending waves of energy through the station that dropped every telepath to their knees in agony. I'm sorry, Stone's voice held genuine regret. But the Concordat was right. The echo can't be reasoned with. Can't be stopped by your dreams of unity and cooperation. Sometimes to save humanity, we have to sacrifice our humanity. As Naira writhed in pain, her patterns dimming, Raven felt their connection being torn apart. Stone's device wasn't just blocking telepathic abilities, it was using them, twisting them, creating a beacon for the echo just as they'd done at other facilities. You're wrong, Raven fought to reach Naira, to protect her even as more tears in reality appeared around the station. The echo isn't our real enemy. It's fear. Fear of what's different. Fear of connection. Fear of change. That's what you serve, not humanity's salvation. Stone raised her weapon. You don't understand. You can't. The things I've seen. A crystalline shard suddenly protruded from her chest. Behind her stood the Cerebian telepath, his normally smooth surface fractured but determined. We understand better than you know, he said as Stone collapsed. We've all seen the darkness. But we choose light. The device clattered to the floor. Raven smashed it as Rodriguez and Davies secured the command center. But the damage was done. The echo was here, and this time, there would be no running. Helping Naira to her feet, Raven felt their connection rebuild, stronger than ever. Around them, humans and telepaths alike rallied, preparing for the fight of their lives. They had one advantage the Concordat never understood: true unity, born not of fear but of love. Together? Raven asked, both aloud and in their shared thoughts. Naira's patterns brightened as she stood tall. Together. Always. The Echo's massive form loomed through the tears in space, but they were ready. Sometimes the greatest battles weren't fought with weapons, but with the strength of hearts beating as one. The real war was about to begin, and they would face it the only way they could, united. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist around Vega 9's moon as the Echo pushed through the dimensional tiers. The station's shields strained against forces they were never designed to contain. In the command center, Raven watched as her improbable family of rebels prepared for their last stand. Multiple Earth fleet vessels approaching, Davies reported, his hands steady on the controls despite the chaos. Admiral Morton's flagship identified among them. Rodriguez laughed darkly from tactical. So the puppet master finally shows his face. They don't understand what they've done. Naira's mental voice reached everyone present, her bioluminescence pulsing with determination. The Echo isn't just entering our space, it's merging with it. Every moment we delay. Then we don't delay. Raven's voice carried the weight of command and the warmth of conviction. Everyone knows their roles. Whatever happens, we face it together. The plan was dangerous, perhaps impossible. But they'd moved beyond impossible the moment a human commander chose to save a luminary prisoner. Around them, telepaths from a dozen species joined their minds into a unified network, their combined consciousness creating a barrier against the Echo's influence. Earth fleet vessels entering weapons range, Davies announced. They're charging weapons. Raven opened a channel. Admiral Morton, this is Commander Blackwood. The Echo isn't your weapon to control. Stand down before. Before what, Commander? Morton's hologram materialized, his face twisted with an emotion close to madness. Before you and your collection of aliens save us? The Echo is power. Pure power. Humanity will either harness it or be destroyed by it. Through their connection, Raven felt Naira's bitter understanding. This is why my people hid. Not from the Echo, but from this. The desire to control what should never be controlled. The Echo's presence pressed against their minds, a vast alien intelligence trying to find purchase in their reality. But where it touched the telepathic network, it found not weakness but strength. Not division but unity. Sir, Rodriguez called out, the fleet ships, their crews are fighting back. The telepathic network, it's reaching them. Showing them the truth. On their screens, Morton's fleet began to turn on itself. Ships whose crews had awakened to the truth firing on those still under Concordat control. But the Admiral's flagship pushed forward, firing strange weapons that tore new holes in space. He's trying to give the Echo more entry points, Raven realized. Everyone brace for. The station rocked as reality buckled. Through the viewport, Raven saw the Echo's true form beginning to manifest, a vast lattice of impossible geometries and living mathematics, beautiful and terrible in its alienness. Now, Naira's mental voice carried to every mind in their makeshift fleet. While the barriers are thinnest. Show them who we really are. Their months of working together, of learning to trust and understand across the boundaries of species and culture, had prepared them for this moment. Every telepath, every empath, every mind both human and alien opened completely to each other. Their consciousness expanded, transformed, became something greater than the sum of its parts. Through their unified perception, Raven finally understood. The Echo wasn't evil, it was curious. Drawn to their universe by the Concordat's experiments, it had found only fear and attempts at control. But now, through their joining of minds, it encountered something new. We see you, their unified consciousness reached out to the vast alien presence. We understand what you are. And we offer neither resistance nor submission, but cooperation. The Echo's response defied normal sensing, but through their enhanced awareness, they felt its surprise. Its consideration. Its gradual shift from invasion to investigation. Morton's voice crackled through the chaos, "No. We won't surrender to." His ship exploded as reality itself rejected the weapons he'd created from twisted telepathic power. Around them, the dimensional tears began to heal, not through force but through understanding. The Echo remained partly manifested, but its presence had changed. Through their unified consciousness, they began to communicate. To learn. To grow. Hours later, as the station's crew worked to stabilize their systems and treat the wounded, Raven found Naira in their favorite observation room. The luminary's patterns rippled with exhausted joy. "Did we win?" Raven asked, both aloud and in their shared thoughts. Naira's laugh was like starlight. "We did something better. We evolved. The Echo will remain in contact through the telepathic network we created. Not as an invader or a weapon, but as a teacher. A bridge between realities." And the Concordat? Already falling apart. When faced with true unity, fear cannot survive. The crews who awakened are spreading the truth. Change is coming, faster than anyone expected. Raven moved closer, drawn to Naira's luminescence as she had been since that first moment in the Kepler facility. "What about us? All those memories we shared in the joining, all those feelings." Naira's hand found hers, their minds and hearts intertwining as naturally as breathing. "Love, my dear commander, transcends species, transcends space, transcends reality itself. It is the one force even the Echo recognized as familiar across all dimensions." Through the viewport, they watched Earth fleet ships and rebel vessels working together to stabilize the sector. Teams of human and telepathic healers treated the wounded while scientists of all species began studying the Echo's gift of knowledge. "So what now?" Raven asked, feeling the warmth of Naira's presence in her mind and heart. "Now we build something new. The Echo showed us possibilities we never imagined. Worlds where different species, different forms of life and consciousness, exist in true harmony. We can create that here." Raven smiled, remembering that first choice in the Kepler facility, to save one prisoner, to take one stand against injustice. How that single act of compassion had rippled outward, changing not just their galaxy but their very understanding of reality. "Together?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Naira's patterns synchronized with her heartbeat, their bond humming with shared purpose and love. "Always together. After all, my dear Raven, the greatest adventures always begin with a heart brave enough to choose compassion over fear." Around them, the station hummed with new life and purpose. The dawn of a new era was breaking across the galaxy, born not from weapons or control, but from the simple truth they had discovered together, that in the end, love and unity were the greatest forces in any universe.